Let me first welcome Aaron Harding with Backwoods Guitar LLC. So folks, put your hands together for Aaron Harding.
All right. Good job.
Thank you.
Like I said, I am Aaron Harding. I am one of the owners of Backwoods Guitar here in Sedalia. A little bit about our shop. We started I'm a lifelong guitar player, musician, as well as my partner Steve Cox. He's the other partner of Backwoods. Kind of out of necessity, me and Steve have played music together all our lives, played in bands together. My brothers know his brothers, everything. We're real close. Big vintage collectors in the music world. We love old guitars, love old stuff in general. So about the year 2000, I started kind of out of necessity learning to work on guitars, how to fix them, how they work, all the geometry and everything, all the science that goes into it. And it kind of snowballed from there because really none of the active gig and play musicians around here really had anybody to do professional guitar repair for them or anything else. They had to, if they wanted that, they either had to send it off to Kansas City and pay an absorbent amount of money to get it done and wait forever to get their gear back. Meantime, they're waiting to play shows. And a lot of these guys, they're actually gigging to put money on the table, feeding their families. So we're like, man, we really got to help these guys. There's nothing around here. So we put our heads together and we always said, well, this area really needs a real true guitar shop, not just a music store for these active gigging musicians. These guys that are out there trying to feed their families from playing clubs every Friday, Saturday night for little to next to nothing. So we have found the right time, and about, 2013 or so, 13, 14, we decided to take the plunge. So just to see if it would take off, we rented a one-room in a little business office in the Wolf & Company building over there by the hair salon, and just to see if it would go. Little bitty place, I don't think it was the size of this screen, it seemed like. So we started off, and neither one of us knew a thing about running a business or anything. So we jumped in head first and stocked our store with stuff out of our own collections. And it's funny to look back at it now because we took some pictures of the first day we opened, and it looked like there's nothing there. So time went on, and long story short, it snowballed. It went crazy. As word went out, everybody started coming in. We started taking consignments. Guys would bring gear in to trade, buy, sell, whatever, get their stuff worked on, and it just got crazy. I mean, before long, in a year's time, we had so much stuff in our store, it looked like a hoarder because there was one little path to walk up to the counters without knocking anything over. So we thought, well, this is great, but it's really kind of terrible because now we can't buy any more stuff. So we ended up renting the room right underneath of us to put the shop and some more inventory and stuff in. So, and then that got snowballed. We started getting calls from people out of the city. One of the big ones that we had a call from a widow, and her husband had passed away, of course, and wanted to consign his guitar collection. Well, usually when you get calls like that, it's, 2 or 3 guitars. Well, how many do you have? Oh, about 40. Oh man, 40, terrific. Our whole shop holds about 40. So we bought that. About that time, we finally said, all right, we got to do something. So we went out and looked and bought our own building. Like, this is great. We're going to have all the more room we'll ever have. This is great. So we went in and ended up buying an old restaurant. If you know where the 16th and Osage is, used to be an old restaurant. Well, the catch-22 about buying an old restaurant is you also inherit all the restaurant equipment. So, a great word to the wise, if you ever get a chance to buy a restaurant, don't do it. Because you also get to try to sell all this stuff, and the worst part is cleaning it all up. I've never seen grease in so many places. I didn't know there was places. So we cleaned it all up and moved all my shop from my house into there and cleaned it all up, and we painted it and everything. It looked great, and in 3 months we had so much stuff we outgrew it again. It's like, oh man, now what are we going to do? Because what killed us is we also forgot, like our new place, roughly we hold, just guitar-wise, about 150 or so, 150, 200, just guitars, not counting all the other stuff that's effects pedals and cabling and everything else. But we forgot that with every guitar, you also get a matching case and a shipping box. That takes up a whole lot of space. Like, great, now what are we gonna do? So now we're at the point now, we're busting at the seams trying to figure out where to put all our stuff, and we're still wanting to buy more. So as time goes on, when we bought that place, we also opened up an e-commerce website. And this is just it's a big commerce website. And so this is great. It was like, we'll put everything on here, we can sell stuff on there. It's terrific, and it's been doing terrific. So we do online stores on our personal websites. We also have a store on a site called reverb.com, which is basically an eBay for nothing but musical instruments. Only it's better than eBay because all your listings are perpetual. You don't pay anything until your stuff sells. They're super great to get along with. I mean, we have our own personal representative. We have so much stuff listed on there. They gave us our own personal rep on Reverb. And we sell stuff on there, we kill it. Ship stuff every day. We've shipped stuff all over the country, Hawaii, middle of Russia, Australia, middle of England. I mean, we've done really, really well. We do all the social media stuff. We hit Instagram real big. We're big Facebookers. Every new thing that comes in the store gets thrown on Facebook, so everybody can see what the inventory is, because it's kind of a first come, first serve a lot of time. If you get a cool thing, the first guy in gets it, so a lot of stuff there. Linked up on Twitter, of course. But it's really nice because nowadays you get to, everything's all linked together. So you post on one and it hits everything else. So, well, that's kind of where we are in a nutshell. So needless to say, we've grown exponentially and wanting to grow bigger now. So we're doing really well. So I'm going to jump into some questions. Sure thing.
How many employees do you have?
0. Me and my partner, we do it all. Barely, but we do. Sure.
Why do you think you've been so successful so fast?
I think we are so successful because we actually, being working musicians, we know what these guys need. A lot of times you'll go into a music store and it's just teenagers or a business entrepreneur that owns a store and they're just trying to sell stuff. They're not trying to sell you what you need or even the best stuff. I mean, I think we do well even with our area because we're very personable. We've been around forever. We know all the local gigging guys, and as word spreads, it went crazy in Kansas City. I mean, we have guys come from middle of Kansas just to have us work on their stuff because they don't want anybody in Kansas City touching it. They'll come all the way to us, have us do it because I think it's because we're so personable and really we can relate. I mean, we're in their same shoes. We're both still gigging on the weekend, so I think a lot of that has to do with that.
What percentage of your sales is online, or national or global, and what percentage is local?
Online sales are probably 75%. All the big money stuff goes online.
Who's your competition online?
Oh, there's a million. You have to put up with the Musician's Friend, the Sweetwaters, Chicago Music Exchange. I mean, it's like going up against Walmart. So whenever you go to competitive pricing, you have to adhere to what they call MAP pricing, minimum advertised pricing, which is what all the vendors put on all of their products. So nobody can sell lower than that price. So it keeps the playing fields level. Or if they didn't have that, all the big box stores would kill us because they could order $1 million of one product and sell it make 5 cents on it. And why would you buy it from anywhere else when you can buy it from them for next to nothing? So, but yeah, I mean, so all our pricing, and that's the other thing, we tell them you can't buy it any cheaper than us because we are the same price as the Walmarts, so to speak, in the music world. So they can't, and like the young kids today and everybody here, you've got a phone, so whenever they go to shop for something, what's the first thing you do is pull up your phone right there in the store, see if they can get it cheaper somewhere else. And they'll come in and they'll look it up and you're right, it's the same price here and I don't have to wait, I don't have to pay shipping. So.
The website's really appealing. You have help with the design?
No, it's actually this is a online store called Big Commerce, and what they do is they're an e-commerce platform, and they have a bunch of different templates that you can go to pick from to see kind of how it works, and you basically kind of populate all your graphics and everything, and all are your pull downs yourself, whatever you want them to do. Well, I was going to drive, but it's nice, and we can go in and we list all our stuff ourselves. If you scroll down, I can show you down there. But you can go in and put down as you list items. You put in your description, format them however you want, whatever your pictures are. Tag your pictures with all your relevant search engine optimization stuff, and you can also link this to Facebook stores. There's a new Facebook stores out now, so this will automatically sync up with the Facebook store, and it will also sync up with our Reverb page too that I was telling you about. So you can list it once here, and it automatically filters out to and lists it to the other stores all in one click, which is thank goodness, because that would be as much listings as we have. I mean, I forgot what the last count was, 200 and some odd SKUs. But yeah, it's neat. And then like most of the graphics we do, we'll take them and put whatever graphics we want. And that's the newest thing. We started doing band instrument rentals this year to kind of see how that's taken off. And that's done really well, way better than what we ever thought it would be like. So, yep.
What's been your biggest challenge?
Learning how to do the books. We were just talking about that because when we started, well, like I said, neither one of us knew anything about running a business and especially how to do the books. And QuickBooks will give you a heart attack in a heartbeat. And, well, how do you code this and how do you do this? And, oh, man, that was the biggest worry of sleepless nights trying to figure out how to do QuickBooks for a year, it seems, just until you get it all going. But now, like I was telling her, we were talking about all this before. We had everything when we first started. Of course, we were real small. Started in QuickBooks Online, and and getting it going wasn't too bad because you weren't selling a whole lot of stuff. But then we got so much stuff. When we bought about a year ago, we finally ponied because we had so many SKUs we couldn't keep everything straight. So we went to the barcode method, which is great, right? But so we also went to a new point of sale system so you could use the barcode thing. Well, when you do that, now the POS system keeps track of all your inventory and all your sales tax for you. QuickBooks doesn't, and they don't link together. So and then you had to figure out how to transfer one to the other and yada, yada, yada. But yes, long story short, legalities and learning how to do the books and taxes and everything else. Yes?
With a business partner, how do you keep the business in the direction that's good for both of you?
As in what?
You both have a vision for the business and you want to keep it the same direction as you grow, you expand the business. I mean, how do you keep, the direction of the business going the way that both of you, it works for each individual?
We talk about it every day. Yeah, I mean, and luckily we are both like cut from the same cloth. I mean, we like the same things. We want to go the same direction. Very, very, I don't think we've ever had even an argument about the business. I mean, we get along great. We'll sit down and talk about, before we do anything, we'll talk about pros and cons and get everything lined down to the X's and O's before we'll pull the trigger and do anything. But yeah, it's literally every day we'll talk about it. Well, what do you think about this? Should we do this? Well, I don't think that would sell more than this. Let's go do this. What about that? It's constantly throwing ideas out there until it sticks. And you can't stop. If you ever stop, you're dead. I mean, because if you're not on the cutting edge and the first guy to have new stuff, we learn that too. When a new product comes out, if you're going to sell it, you got to be the first guy to have it, and you'll sell it like wildfire for 3 weeks, and then it'll be dead. But if you can be the first guy on the block to have the new toy, you're doing great.
How many items are you shipping out a day, and what's your goal?
It all depends, especially if we're doing online sales or not. It all depends. Some days just onesie twosie stuff. Some days it'll be a postal truckload. I mean, there's times we've shipped 12 guitars in a day, and that's fun trying to watch Steve pack 12 guitars to get ready. But the truck's coming at 2, so. But and it's funny because the time of day is what really surprised us. Being online, you don't sell anything during the day. You sell stuff at 3 o'clock in the morning. But it is, anytime after about 6 o'clock, you'll see, because of course everything's hooked up to email, so every time we sell something, we get an email on your phone, oh, this payment's cleared, you've sold this is ready to ship, bam, bam, bam. So usually come in, of course we watch it like a hawk 24/7, so his usual day, he'll come in and start shipping every day, whatever you sold overnight, and then if anything sells that morning, then you can still get it shipped and get it out on the box and ship it that same day. People love that. If you can ship the same day they order, boy, they really dig that. But yeah.
Aaron, you have a lot going on in your two-man show. And you mentioned about your growth and moving buildings and maybe an eye on another building or expanding that, website presence. As you grow in your vision, what do you see as being your biggest challenge or your biggest need to grow?
Oh, right now is space. We need lots of space. So the building we're looking at now is probably, we need, just figuring square footage and the new things we want to do in a store, we're looking at, say, at least 5 times as big as what we have now. So at least, so you can still keep the shop, the guitar shop in it, as well as the retail front and storage. That's what kills us is storage, because there's just a whole lot of stuff you got to keep. Shipping boxes. We never knew shipping boxes could be such a pain, but it's one of those things you have to have them. So, and packing material, and the stuff is big and bulky, but it's a necessity. Yeah, you got to have it. So, but I don't know. I mean, we probably won't get crazy big. I don't think either one of us want to be the Walmart because you'll never compete with the big guys. So, two-man shop. There's no way without a gazillion dollars. So, but I mean, we've been thrilled with what we do now. I mean, we love it. We have a great time. You love what you're doing, and guys keep coming, and the word keeps spreading, and the internet is great. I mean, you have to do this. If you don't do this, you're dead. You'll never get anywhere. So,
How much of your business is service?
Service is probably. When we started service, the repair part floated the business, just because we didn't, our name wasn't out there. They didn't know what we did and everything else, and we didn't have as much product to sell. Now it's kind of done a 180. Now that we've got a bigger store and a whole lot more stuff to sell, it's probably about 50-50, and it all snowballs like anything else. It's a big roller coaster. You'll be crazy busy, and then you'll slow down, and then you'll get slammed, and then It is. It's like that. So you learn to enjoy your slow times. Yes?
As you grow, what resources or who are you partnering with to make sure that the decisions you're making are financially sound?
Well, we have an accountant, of course. That's the big thing, especially if you're doing QuickBooks. Make sure you have somebody you can bounce stuff off of. Right now, we really haven't gotten to that point. We're not crazy big. We're still, most of the money we make, we're throwing right back into it, trying to get it to as big as we want it, and then kind of manage money from there. So, like right now, we've got Town Square Media here in town on board. We pay them monthly to help do SSO optimization and help us get out there. We've had them for about a year or so. And we've got all our relative search criteria that we wanted to dominate, so to speak, be at the first of the list. For Central Missouri, we've kind of got that under wraps, so now we're branching out into getting recognized in the areas of the bigger markets in Missouri, Kansas City, Springfield, St. Louis, Columbia, like that. So we're starting to pop up on their search results whenever they search for our keywords and everything like that, which is good, because I don't have time to do that. I found that out really, really fast because by trade, I'm an IT guy. I still have a day gig. So I work for CenturyLink. I'm a computer nerd. So I was trying to do all that, the SSO stuff and everything, and by myself, and I finally threw my hands up because I run out of time. You can't do it all. So yeah. Yes?
So you do some stuff on consignment and you buy some new things and sell. What's like your inventory makeup of used?
When we started, it was almost all consignment. Now it's mostly new. A lot of newer stuff, because we went to NAMM, which is the big music trade show down in Nashville. First NAMM show, we went down there this summer and signed a bunch of good contracts with some really nice stuff and bringing that in. But I mean, as far as the consignment stuff is every day, literally people we're like the music hawk shop. They come in and, of course, we don't loan money, but we'll buy, and we also pay better prices than the pawn shops. So, and anymore, a lot of times the pawn shops actually send them to us. They'll come in and flat out say, well, we went down to the pawn shop and they said to come here because you would pay more. And we do. I mean, we're fair with them. We're not there to put the screws to anybody. We'll a lot of times, especially the big money items, we'll look it up because they have a price guide for guitars, just like cars. And you can look it up, make them all in here, and we'll flat out show them, well, this is low book, this is high book, and so just so you know, we're not taking you to the cleaners or anything, and being fair and honest with them, that goes a long way. So, yes.
How do you keep track of the age of your inventory?
About like that. That's Steve's territory. Steve runs the front retail side, and I run the back shop part. But he can pretty much tell you exactly how long everything's been there. We try to turn stuff in at least 3 months. If it stays on the shelf longer than 3 months, it's actually costing you money, which goes into a bigger, long spiel. But we figured that out too. So, and there's a lot of good resources out there. The more you dig, the more you learn. So there's a lot to it. So figured out, instead of waiting to hit the home run, on every single sale, if you can just keep things moving is the big thing. Everything, just keep it rotating. They all say you don't want anything to have a birthday in your shop. If it sits there a year, you're in trouble. So we try to move stuff we don't want it longer than 3 months. I mean, if it's unique items, right, unique guitars, whatever, but if you like effects pedals and whatever, it's almost, like stocking coffee bags or whatever, There's necessities you always have to have on hand, so it doesn't matter. But all the big items you try and turn in 3 months. Yes?
You said in the beginning that your service flowed to the business. Mm-hmm. How imperative and how did that translate into sales?
It does a lot, because anything you can do to get people in a store is a home run. That's the big thing. And as they come in, because a lot of them won't know really what they want. They'll come in, well, this doesn't work, or I need this, pick up in that. Well, you can take them out on the showroom and start discussing options with them. Well, you can get this for this money, but if you really want to pay a little bit more, this will sound 1,000,000 times better, last longer, and kind of put the sale on them, so to speak. And as they get in the store and they start perusing around and seeing, wow, you guys got a lot of cool stuff. And then they tell their buddies, and it all comes together. It's weird to say that, but it really does. If you do one, it leads to the other, and it all works together. Yes?
Was there any inspiration behind the name and the logo?
The logo, not really. I tried to design logos myself, and I'm horrible at it. So there's an online place that will design you logos. Pay them X amount of dollars, and they'll ship you. Their designers will come up. You can tell them, well, what kind of colors do you want in it, and what are you thinking? And you can give them your ideas, and the place we did, they came back and they'll give you 4 different logos. And if you don't like it, they'll let you change it once for free. And then they'll ship you 4 more different logos or whatever, and then pick out the ones you want. Then if you pick one you like and just want to tweak it, well, I want the flames blue or whatever, they'll do it. Or move this to the right and yada, 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 they'll do it. But that was actually created by an online company. And then it's nice because they give you all the formats. They give you JPEGs, PNGs, vectors. So you get all the formats, which is great. And the Backwoods thing is actually, where I live is out in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of a bunch of trees, and 1.5 miles down a gravel road, kind of in the backwoods of Missouri. So we just called it Backwoods. That was when I started doing the repair thing. Then when we wanted to start the store, we just thought, well, what are we going to name it? And Steve said, well, you've already got the name Backwoods already out there. Everybody knows it. We'll just use that. Well, okay, so, and there it is.
Now that you're at the point you're at now, what's the one thing you wish you would have known when you started? Like the biggest surprise that came to you, or the biggest challenge, or something that when you first started out you wish somebody would have told you or wish you would have known?
How to set up credit card payments. What I mean is, let me rephrase that. How to set up security on your credit card payments. Because we got slant, because we didn't, and nobody out there tells you how to do it, right? So whenever you go on here, you can link a company to, they call it merchant accounts, to accept your credit card payments, right? So in that, it is up to you to go and set whatever security you want whenever somebody does buy something with a credit card. Be it, and you've all done it, whenever you put it, you have to put in your credit card number and the 3-digit code on the back and the shipping address. Those are all separate options that you can set in there where all those have to match before the transaction goes through. So us not knowing that, we set it all up, and by default, all that stuff is shut off. So, and long story short, that is shut off because not everywhere in the world uses the same security measures as the United States and everywhere else, right? Especially if you're shipping to, like if you have a company in the middle of Zimbabwe, wherever, and you don't want, and people aren't necessarily buying from the same zip code, yada, 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 you may not necessarily want the zip codes to match for a successful transaction. So we set all this up, and it's a virgin website, it's not really out there, and man, all of a sudden one day we start selling stuff, high dollar stuff, like, oh, this is terrific, this is great. So we sell all this stuff up, ship it all out, and a month later, we start getting kickbacks from the merchant accounts for this fraud, right? We even went to the police and everything, and they basically told us you're out of luck. There's no way we catch this guy. That happens every day. So I get on the horn and start calling these merchant accounts saying, well, what the heck is going on? And that's kind of how they explain it. Well, by default, though, it's up to you to set all your security settings, how you want it done. And not all merchant accounts give you the same security settings. Like there's one that gives you about 2 check marks, which is worthless when it comes to credit card security. So we found another one, which is actually owned by PayPal now. I think it's Signified. And they give you everything under the sun as far as security. So I actually called them and talked to them, and they laid it all out and said, yeah, you're absolutely right. It's up to you to set whatever security settings you want, because every business is different as far as what you want it to pass for a successful transaction. And we also, after we did that and got took for a lot of money, that was a big lesson learned, let me tell you. There is a plug-in for BigCommerce, another third party that kind of sits in the middle of your transaction, and they will actually go and basically do a background check, so to speak, on the transaction about when the last time the card was used, if this guy's bought anything with this card in the last however many days, and they will rate it if it's good or bad. And if it's good, it'll come up with like a green dot or an approve thing, and you can accept it. And if they approve it and it turns out to be fraud, they will back you. It's like insurance, because I went into that too with them, asking the merchant accounts, was there any kind of insurance I can buy for this? And they said no, and if there was, it would be an exorbitant amount of money. Nobody could afford it. So we found that, and that was like, oh yes, finally some insurance. Of course, it's very minimal amount of every transaction that they approve, but we set it up we just have them approve every transaction. I mean, even if you sell $20, you don't want fraud on anything, because you're going to eat the money. You not only eat the money, you're out your product, so you're out double the money. So, but yeah, that was the biggest thing I wish somebody would have told us, is how to correctly set up credit card security. But yeah.
Okay, so I have the last question, Aaron.
Sure.
So what can we as a community do for you?
Come buy stuff. No, spread the word. I mean, that's the big thing. If you know any musicians or anybody out there, kids, grandkids, anybody needs to rent instruments or anything for school band, we do all that now. I mean, if you know any guitar players and need Christmas gifts or anything like that, we've got a ton of great stuff that doesn't cost a lot of money that every guitar player or musician will use. So it's, yeah, spread the word. That's the big thing, is getting the word out there. So, yep.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you.